All right, Jeremy Perrone from Car World. Tell us a little bit about your business, the different maybe concentrations in your business, your product mix.
All right, love to. So, been in business since 2004, so this is our 20th year. We've tried a bunch of different things. Some things worked great, some things didn't. We have around 1,900 accounts, all lease here, pay here. We do also do retail with third-party banks, but our majority of our business is lease here, pay here. We have 3 locations. They're all within 3 miles of each other. We tried to spread out, 30 miles away in central Arkansas, and it was just hard to have, the management at each store. So it was kind of, we just thought it would be better to have everybody close. We wanted a big store, but in our area there wasn't any available. So we have 1 big store and 2 smaller stores close by.
So why would you only, or why wouldn't you only focus on lease here, pay here? You're also doing third party, indirect. Tell us about why that's important to you and how that's helped your business or not.
Yeah. We report to the credit bureau, so as we help a customer build their credit, it's an opportunity to keep that customer with Car World. We hated to lose them to the new car store once they built the credit. And plus, we want to help the customer out. I mean, if we can get them a better interest rate at the Arkansas Federal Credit Union versus us, then we hope to help them out, and they can upgrade. And it also helps for cash flow to, make some cash up front. So it's a challenge, though, to figure out how to do both businesses because they're completely different.
Yeah, what does that mean for your salespeople in terms of incentivizing them to focus on one versus the other? And are they levers that you tend to move depending on the month or the quarter?
It's a challenge. They can make more money on the retail, on the third party, because their commission's higher. But we looked at our applications last month. We had like 420 applications come in the store, and 90% of them were below, a 600 credit score. So the majority of our customer base has subprime credit.
Okay. We met, I want to say maybe beginning of 2019 or so, when we first started chatting. And tell us about what the size of your organization was then, and then maybe how you managed through COVID and compared to today.
Absolutely. We had around 500 accounts, maybe 600 accounts. We were doing some buy here, pay here, and then we switched over to leasing, and that's when I met Tim and LHPH. And I'm not just saying this to say this. We would not be where we are today if they wouldn't have, helped us with financing and stuff. And so we went from having, maybe 5 employees, 6 employees, to now we have over 50 employees, and go from having 500 accounts to 1,900 accounts. So, y'all made a huge impact in my life and our community's life. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. That's how you add in the disclaimer of, I wasn't really told to say this, but I'm going to say this anyway. So thank you. I appreciate that.
It's the truth. I'm not a public speaker, but I will tell you the truth.
Actually, I've been trying to get Jeremy up here for like 3 years, and every time I mention it to him, he's like, no, I'm not a public speaker. And so this time, I'm like, dude, I really want you up here, and let's just do a nice little interview. It'll be fine. So you guys are doing great, helping us out
heart
already.
rate's pumping pretty good. So hopefully that burns calories.
Yeah, it should. Nice little ice bath right after this should get it just right. Okay, so you were hovering around 500 accounts or so, and then some catalyst happened, and you decided, because you were pretty conservative when we first started working together, and you didn't like debt, you wanted to maintain things pretty well, and then something happened. Walk us through just how you decided to start taking on more.
Growth is fun. It can also be a challenge, but looking back at the things we've done, it's like, I can't believe we did that. You know what I mean? Like, could we do this again? If I knew what I knew now 20 years ago, I probably would not have started because it's been a grind. But absolutely love serving our customers, giving reliable transportation to people that need transportation, get their kids to school, get to work. It's pretty fulfilling.
Okay. So somewhere along the way, as you're expanding your business and you're growing, adding locations and then deciding the exact number that's going to make sense for you, and then you start to add in doing some third party, and then you added something else that most people is like their biggest frustration. You added third party servicing. Tell us about that.
Man, it's something I never dreamed of, but we've been doing it for 20 years, so we've learned a lot about this business, from the car to the customer to a lot. And so we had capacity in we call them portfolio managers. They're not just collectors. They manage the portfolio. Well, we had capacity to take on more than what we had, our 1,900 accounts. We felt like we could handle 3,000 or 4,000 accounts with our team. So I reached out to a friend of mine who they had around 500 accounts, and they were, kind of unwinding their LHPH a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I said, as they were unwinding, their overhead with staff stays the same, but their dollars collected is coming down. Well, we had capacity. So I reached out and I just said, hey, would you like us to, we're DealPack, we love DealPack, we know DealPack in and out, they're in DealPack. I said, hey, would you like us to jump in your DealPack and help you with collection? They're like, dude, that's crazy, we were just thinking about that. And so here we go. It's been doing it for a year, so we jumped into theirs and treat theirs exactly the same as we treat ours, and I hope they're satisfied with.
Okay, so wait, let's jump into this a little bit more, because I think most dealers would say nobody's going to collect the same way that I'm going to collect, or maybe they're going to say the transition is going to be really scary because they know my team, they know my collectors, and then all of a sudden somebody else is collecting. Are you calling yourselves a different name to them? Are you still, hey, we're collecting for the same dealership, so we're white labeling ourselves as them? What are you doing?
So when we first started, without saying names, we connected their phone line to our phone line, and so our phone system's pretty awesome how it could do that, and we would see that it was their company calling. So we answered their company's name. But as we've added other dealers, now we're Traction Financial because we needed to make sure that we couldn't continue to do that with multiple dealers because you're asked, so does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Well, and there's also a part of the story that I don't know if you want to talk about or not, but it was kind of what sold me on, like, yeah, this is a really good idea. There was something where there's a building and there were already some subprime collectors who weren't going to have a job anymore, and you had like some connection to them.
Yeah.
It was like opportunistic moment. Say more about that.
Well, there was a company in Sherwood, Arkansas. They had gyms, like workout gyms. Well, then they started collecting for their friends' gyms. And then they started collecting for gyms all across the United States and Canada, Planet Fitness, all of that. They were ABC Financial. And then they got bought out for like $700 million. And so they moved a lot of their staff out. And so we had a lot of their leadership was in our community jobless. So we got to bring some of their high quality in with us to help with compliance and IT and just all the things that they worked through for the years. So that's pretty amazing.
Okay. So you had started with just collecting for a buddy of yours, mm-hmm. somebody who you already knew, a colleague in the industry, so there was some trust there. Mm-hmm. I know that you've done some distressed portfolio collections, and then you've also worked with some other dealers also. What is your ambition here? What are you trying to accomplish? What are you interested in?
Yeah, I mean, we're interested to help however we can help. With the dealer who's not distressed, I think we provide a lot of value because we're collecting for almost 4,000 accounts. So we have the scale that we can add specialists in each department, from CPI tracking, third-party insurance claims, pulling police reports when our customer gets an accident, find out who hit them and file a claim on their insurance, working with repo companies, just all the things where if a dealer has, 500 accounts, and I was there for a long, long time, we didn't have the staff to do those specialties. So for a dealer that's not distressed, they can get a lot with our team that it would be too expensive for them to do with their income coming in. And then the distressed dealer, it's definitely a challenge to jump in their portfolio as they're not growing it. But we're happy to help, do the best we can.
So if I'm a dealer and I'm considering outsourcing my collections, because that is my biggest frustration, and I know that it's slowing me down, or at least taking my attention away from the things that matter, like thinking about the flow of the organization, and my service center needs a lot of attention, but this is just a headache that's distracting me. What is the timing to be able to make some sort of a transition like this?
Well, all of our dealers are on Deal Pack. And so right now we're really just sticking with dealers who are in Deal Pack. And, who knows where we go from here, but if they're, in Deal Pack, I mean, we can jump in today. As soon as they get Deal Pack to give us license, get it on our computer, our team is jumping in, creating tags and working accounts. So it's a pretty quick transition.
Quick, like 2 to 4 months quick, or quick like 2 to 4 weeks quick?
You tell us how fast we need to go, and we can go. But to get our phone line switched over, that takes a little bit of time. To get Deal Pack, to get us a license, get us a little bit of time. And we like to send out some communication on the dealer's behalf to the customer, letting them know, hey, we've partnered with a new team to better serve you. And then we reach out to each customer individually to make sure that transition is smooth. We don't want the customer to feel like it's something weird going on. So we want to make it a positive thing. So I'd say 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
Okay. And then what's the interaction like after, now the transition has happened, I'm a dealer, what's it going to be like now between us? What's the communication? Is there any customer handoff situations? When does it come back to me at any point?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we need someone on the ground at the stores for the repossessions, because we're in Arkansas and a lot of our dealers are all over, so we need someone on the ground when the repos come in to look at them and to work with on that. But communication-wise, we send out a report every Monday of a scorecard from Traction that we send, our CFO sends to them so they can see what the numbers look like, what projections were. And then in Deal Pack, they can log in at any time and read our notes. So like if you have if I was a dealer, I'd be scared to hand my portfolio off to somebody. But they can log into Deal Pack, go to collections, and read the notes and see how we've reached the customers every day, calling references, and they can see what we're doing. But yes, there definitely is a connect. Like we definitely have to work together to get the most out of it.
Okay. Stepping aside from it just being you and your operation, but thinking about it from the dealer's perspective, is there a particular number of accounts to where it might make sense to then start to outsource collections, in your opinion? And not just to Traction, but there are other third-party collectors.
Yeah. I mean, first off, trust who you're handing it off to, and if you do, I mean, I really think that if you don't have, I don't know the exact number, but I know where I was at 500 accounts, and if someone would have done this for me, I would have been happy. Take it, please. You know, at 500 accounts. Now, if you get to 1,000 accounts, 1,500 accounts, 2,000 accounts, then maybe it makes sense to start your own team of specialists. But that also takes a lot of money and time to get there.
Yes, you know, scaling is such an interesting process, because as you're growing and you're scaling, you kind of have this stair-step approach where maybe you're growing in one area, but you haven't added the right amount of infrastructure, and you're kind of curious on the timing. Am I going to add personnel sooner or the software sooner than I actually need it? And so you kind of end up like this, and so your profitability might lag for a little bit until the rest of the accounts catch up, or your people might be overworked until you add the personnel. So it's the concept that one of the reasons why I wanted to put this talk together is because the concept of outsourcing different parts of your business is starting to gain some traction, pun intended. And I think that it's such a viable option to explore for the right circumstances, and it might not be collections, it might be some other part of your business. So as we're talking through this light is so bright, I cannot see who might have a question or not, and Jeremy might be the same way. But so Mark, I can see your hand because you're off to the side of the light. It's coming.
Okay. You talked about third-party insurance claims. Can you talk about that? Because it is a thorn in my side. I spend so much time trying to negotiate with these insurance companies. Getting a call back from them it's like trying to get an act of Congress done. Tell me about this. How do you do this?
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel because I was there for 10 years, and it's a lot of work to keep up with that. But we've hired a team that's all they do is insurance. They came from insurance background, and they work the queue in DealPack. We tag it, insurance claim or whatever, and then they work those every day from the insurance companies to get paid.
Do you have to be in DealPack for you guys to do it? If you're using another DMS, can you still handle it?
And I don't work for DealPack or anything.
No, I
like
understand,
that,
but I'm just saying, can you use it another DMS?
We're going to have to learn other DMSs at some point, but right now what kind of makes this unique is that we are so good at DealPack, you know, where a lot of dealers may not have had the experience with that, you know, so I feel like that's part of the value that we do. So if you're not in DealPack, we would have to learn. It probably wouldn't be as fast as a process as if you were in DealPack.
It's not complicated. I mean, the other system I use, it's pretty simple to use. It's take you about a minute to learn.
Yeah.
But what's your phone number?
Hey,
I need your phone number before you leave, please.
I like that.
Yeah.
So some other third-party collectors like Alamo's here, they use AMS, but they also will upload, if you send them your deal jackets, they'll upload that, and that might be something that you'll end up doing in the future. But so there's other options for you if you're really considering it. And Jeremy's cool enough to talk about his business and have it be for educational purposes. So.
Just as an FYI, that 500 deal number was the number where we said enough's enough. And again, we outsourced it, as you mentioned, to Alamo. Just for that reason, it allowed me to utilize personnel in much more productive manner. And again, with the compliance, the training, and everything else, it really took a lot off of our plate at the operation. The biggest thing with the lease year pay here, the vehicles that come back, mileage, general condition, okay, those are not the ones that really hurt. Is there anything that you've come up with in your experience collection? It's the big misses that are the ones that I want to either figure out in underwriting, in portfolio management, and we use the insurance tracker, whatever it is, Verifact or whatever. So we try to be as diligent as possible. But those are the ones that absolutely kill me. It's not the ones I get back that I can release and just recondition. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've heard you talk about the big misses quite a bit over the last couple of days, and I know exactly what you're talking about. The car that you just put out and they took the GPS off, or they wreck it with no insurance day one, and I don't know. I think we're always going to have some of that slip through the cracks. We can't predict, but I think underwriting has a ton to do with it. But talking to you, it sounds like you do an amazing job with what y'all do. So I think sometimes you're just going to have big misses.
Just bake it into the formula, the cost, yeah, basically, because I heard a dealer actually mention, that he raised his mileage. A lot of dealers relatively new to lease here, pay here, and really from the franchise world, mileage, 20 cents a mile, whatever. And one of the dealers in the breakout was saying, hey, look, he just raised it to 20,000. He knew or 18,000, 20,000. So just accommodate what your market is, and just accommodate the residual value if needed, and don't have as much brain damage on trying to collect 25 cents here or there. So again, that was one of the things I took away from the breakouts. But
on the big misses, I think about this sometimes. I love baseball and statistics, even though I'm not Excel. I'm terrible at that, but I just like to think about it. Big misses. You go to a casino. Do they care if someone comes in and hits the jackpot for 200 grand? No. They want people to play. So, as long as you're winning the majority of your deals, do more deals. Unless there's a hole that you just keep seeing the same problems coming through, then maybe audit some of the applications. Who was the underwriter on that deal? Look at the application. Is there something that you could have caught for that not to slip through the cracks? And if there's nothing you can, sometimes stuff just slips through the cracks.
So something that just came up that I'm curious of, maybe somebody else is, and they don't have a microphone like I do. The underwriting can often make an impact on the collections, and so can the collateral. We talked about the vehicle. The vehicle that they acquire, how it's reconditioned, and then the underwriting process, and then it gets to you. So how do you, if you're doing the third-party collecting, how do you influence that or manage expectations for a dealership that is maybe not putting as much care and attention?
Yeah, we really want to partner with dealers. We're not trying to go out and open this up to everybody. We're looking for dealers that have the same values that we have, and that they may be doing things, they probably are doing things that are better than us, and we may do some stuff better than them. But we really want to align our business with theirs, so it can be, I don't want to say this arrogant, but our numbers are really, really good on Car World. So how do we come in to another dealer and work with them on underwriting, work with them on what car they're putting on the street, work with them on what to put in deal pack with references, work with them on auto pay, try to take what we've done and really be way more than a third-party collector, but almost a partner consultant.
All right, what else do we have? I again can't see. Wait.
Do you have any kind of customer satisfaction
Perfect layup, Joe.
KPI that
He's asking about customer satisfaction.
Yeah, do we track it? No, but that is our core mission, is to make raving fans of Car World. We want, if we have, we got 1,900 accounts. If we can have half of those accounts go out and give us one referral a year, that's almost 1,000 new accounts. So how do we get that? By giving awesome customer service. In our business, sometimes we can let a few bad customers make us negative. And so we work really, really hard at being the Chick-fil-A of the car business. We don't want to be McDonald's. We want to thank the customers for their, for the business, and So yes, every day, they probably get sick of me saying we want raving fans of Car Worlds. We listen to the phone calls, and sometimes we can get negative, and we try to correct that very fast because we absolutely love our customers, and we love the space that we're in.
So say more about that. As a leader, you're trying to manage your collections team. Sometimes we even get those calls of customers because our name is on the title, and all of a sudden we get this 2-minute long voicemail of how we've just messed up their life, and we're like, what is this? That has to take a toll on your collections team sometimes. So as a leader, what do you actually do?
I mean, we meet every week on it, and we have a mission statement that's very clear of how we want to serve our customers, and we're human. So, I mean, if I'm working the repo line, I get negative. You know, you see a couple cars that are banged up, and you're like, golly, these customers, man, our customers are terrible. Blah, blah, blah. They don't pay. They don't do this. They don't do that. And then you stop and you look at your numbers, and we're at 95% recent. Our charge-offs are less than 2%. You know, on Friday, we're at 81% current, $0. So, I mean, there's going to be some of that. And so sometimes it's nice to step out to help encourage them to be positive. Because if I'm negative and our leadership team's negative, they're going to be negative, and it's going to flow over to the customer as negative.
What do you think is going on from the customer's perspective when they're lashing out like this?
I mean, I say it all the time. I mean, you know, they've got a lot of pressure. Some of them have a lot of pressure in their life. You know, they may be a single mom, you know, making $3,000 a month with 2 or 3 children, who they're getting a phone call from their light bill. They're going to shut their lights off. Rent's due. You know, you put somebody, back them up on the wall, and they're going to bite you. You know, so I think we never can lose compassion for our customers. And it's hard to do sometimes, I get it. But I think step back and think about what you would be like if you were in their situation and have compassion. They still got to pay their car payment. Yes, we got to make a profit. But I think we definitely need to step back and put yourself in their shoes to feel what they feel.
Okay, they have to make their car payment. We agree on that. What happens if they can't, or they can only make a partial payment? How do you guys handle that?
You know, our portfolio managers, they constantly will say, well, we need to do this and make it black and white. At 15 days, we do this. At this, every situation's different. So a partial payment, yeah, we get the full payment. We get the CPI, right? But we're not going to say we never take partial payments. In DealPack, you click the CP button in collections, the customer profile. Miss Smith's had the car for 2 years. Miss Smith has paid you perfect. Miss Smith calls and said she had COVID and she missed 2 weeks of work. Are we going to give her a partial payment? Absolutely. We're going to give her a partial payment. We're going to thank Miss Smith for being a wonderful customer of ours. Now, huh?
It was our pleasure.
Our pleasure. Thank you. It's our pleasure to give you a partial payment. Okay? Now, Miss Cindy got the car 2 weeks ago, or a month ago, and she's already right out the gate asking for a partial payment. Now, we're going to be a lot stricter on the customers who haven't been with us for a little bit of time. So, I mean, I think they want everything to be exact in every situation's different. We're going to collect a little bit differently on the lady who has a 2022 Camry versus and she's had it for a few months, versus the lady who has a 2010 Impala with 190 on the miles. You know?
Yep.
So.
What else?
You mentioned about the insurance, following up with insurance, which is great, but how you, not as far as the following up on the coverage of the vehicle, but as far as the customer doesn't report that there is damage to the vehicle, like fenders, headlights, bumpers, anything, doors. How you guys tracking the condition of the vehicle?
Yeah, I mean, Do we see the vehicle or no?
Do you see the vehicle? Do you ever, like, let's say you give her 2022 Camry,
Okay.
her, him, whatever. They driving it, everything seems to be fine, they making their payments, but let's say in 10 months, they coming in and there's no bumpers, headlight is broken, fender is missing, stuff like that.
Are they on CPI or are they on full coverage?
Well, they are on the full, okay. So if it's a CPI, then you just doing it from your insurance, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And if it's full cover, are you talking about, is that a repossession or?
No, it's, well, if it's a repossession also, yes.
Then we'd file a claim, you know, on the car if we got the car. But usually if it's a repossession, they weren't current on their full coverage insurance. But if they were, we'd definitely try.
Okay.
Did I answer? I'm sorry if I didn't.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
Jeremy, I apologize if I missed this, if you mentioned it, but what do you charge your client to service their accounts? How do you arrange that? How do you structure it? And then secondly, do you establish realistic expectations between you and the dealer on what you're going to produce and what you plan, what goals you plan to achieve for them?
Yes. Every situation's a little different. If the dealer's trying to grow their accounts, then they may charge, we may charge a little bit different. Or if they're unwinding it, we may need to charge a little bit more because they're not actively adding it. But typically, it's around 8% of what we collect is a fair number. If they're unwinding it, maybe 10% or something. So we're incentivized to collect. We align, to collect for them.
So when you go in, you've already examined their portfolio, and I'm sure you're confident you can do a better job than they're doing at the time. So does the dealer know what to expect? You're going to increase the percentage of collection total dollars by X amount? Do you pitch that to them, that we can improve your total dollars collected and it's worth the 8%?
Yeah, we don't make any promises that we can't fulfill, but I would say that, a couple things that we do right off the bat, and this is a big deal, is we audit every account they have to see if they have full coverage insurance. And if not, we'll add CPI, if they're running, most of them run CPI, onto their account. So we had one dealer that was around 40% of his portfolio was on CPI. After we did our audit, it was almost 68% on CPI. So that extra 28% that we went on there and added, and I'm not saying we're going to collect all the CPI, but at least we got a chance to collect it. Also, some of the dealers don't charge late fees. So we don't get in there and charge late fees right off the bat. But over 90 days, once we get used to the customer and we work through their accounts, we start to add late fees. So we try to offset our cost that I really believe if they put pen to paper, our goal is to make a raving fan from that dealership that we're bringing more money in than they're paying us. And if we can do that, if we can make a raving fan out of our dealer, then I think that we can be successful. If our dealer's not successful, we have no chance to be successful. So, yeah, thank you.
What else is on your mind? Okay, while you're thinking, I'm curious.
Just from a marketing standpoint, you have three dealerships in such a close proximity. They have three dealerships in such a close proximity just is unusual.
Yes.
You either must have a very large subprime market or you must have a very large marketing budget or a combination of two. Which one is it?
Sometimes I'm like, why in the world do we do this? This is the stupidest idea ever because, it's just a pain in the butt a lot of the times. But I remember in 2008, I was right across the street in this little pie-shaped lot that was tiny. I could put 15 cars out there. And in 2008, all these buildings were vacant, no dealerships. You fast forward 5 years, and then what? Drive Time's there, American Car Center's there, Car Choice is there, Affordable Lease to Own is there, Car Mart's there. I mean, I could name 10 dealerships in a 5-mile radius that all were right there. And so the customers started would drop their car off with me and go right across the street and get 500 down. Right across the street, 500 down. And so I remember that so clearly that I was like, if these buildings ever come vacant again, I want them to put our flag in the ground and not let them come back in. Because I do believe, and I may be wrong, I'm not the smartest person by any means, but I bet you if we fast forward 5 years, we're in a completely different market than we're in right now. And we're going to be like, dang, we should have doubled down.
Where are we in 5 years?
Where are we?
Great question. Yeah.
Well, I mean, only God knows that, question. But as far as the car business, I mean, I'm not that smart at all. So don't let me fool any one of y'all. I graduated high school with a 1.8 GPA. So my kids make fun of me. I made a 14 on my ACT. So, I mean, I think you get that for putting your name on there. So I'm no economist. When the lady was putting up all that, charts up there, I was like, man, that's amazing. I'm dumb. I'm the dumbest person in this room, But where do in Little Rock, Arkansas, I mean, in 5 years, I feel like the banks kind of go in cycles that no one's ever experienced COVID. So it just beat everybody up bad. And I feel like we have to come out of it, We got more cars coming on the market. Cars are coming down. So I feel like now is a good time to double down. Now, if you double down and you lose, don't be mad at me. But we're doubling down.
Anything that you think over the next couple years might be a challenge for dealerships that they're overlooking?
I mean, this business is an absolute challenge every day. Would y'all agree? Yeah. When I think about a car dealer, y'all are some of the most resilient, toughest people that I've ever met. I don't think any other industry knows how tough we are. I mean, we're wearing 15 different hats every single day. My brother, I love him to death. He's way smarter than me. He's a hedge fund manager. I'm like, you have no clue how hard we work at the car dealership. My dad, anyhow. So I see other professions and we grind it out. So you ask about challenges. I mean, heck, it's a challenge today. I guarantee when I go turn my phone on, I've got emails of issues that are going on. So I don't know if that answered your question.
No, that's good. That was a kind of just something on my mind.
What were you thinking? You're smarter than me.
I think the outsourcing thing is maybe it's a challenge. The other side of the challenge is the opportunity. I think if you can find ways, because just like you said, there's so many hats to wear, and it's so easy to take your eye off the ball, that if you can have some different areas to outsource, essentially you're just delegating part of your organization to somebody who has a clear focus on that as their priority, then it helps you focus on the right things in your organization. I think that's a scary proposition, but it's also, there's the opportunity for you to improve your business so much better and then focus on the things that matter. That's how I would look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? All right, good stuff. Hey, Jeremy, thank you so much.
Thank
really
you for having
appreciate
me.
it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right.